Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. Well, by this point it probably seems like it's a bit all over the place in this video. Different time zones, different weather patterns, you name it, and it kind of is. This isn't all done in one straight shot here, but here's some thoughts. Have you ever thought of the idea that using people is actually okay? That using people is actually something that you totally should do? And that it's actually a good thing to use people? Sounds a little bit strange. Sounds a little bit untrue. And for the most part it is. For the most part it's a very nefarious thing to do. But have you ever thought there's actually a good way to do it? That can actually benefit the other person more so than it even benefits you? Well, if you're interested, stick around, and I'd like to explain that a little bit. So have you ever observed when there's, say, some sort of cultural event, current event, whatever you want to call it, that's got a lot of people talking, it's got a lot of people forming these different opinions about it, could be controversial in a lot of ways, this, that, and the other. And then you see the trailer for some sort of new movie or documentary that's coming out, and the advertising makes it seem like it's, all about that. Gets people's blood pumped, gets people riled up. Everybody wants to rush out to see it, to, depending on what side of the coin it seems to be on. They want to debunk it. They want to, they want to observe, what it's about, and go on social media and rant about it, or praise it, whatever it may be. And then, long and behold, the movie comes out, the documentary comes out, and it turns out that the advertising was a little bit off. It was a little bit overplayed. It wasn't really actually about this current event as much as it made out to be. The ideas in it weren't as controversial. They weren't as cutting edge as it was presented to be. But you realized that there was all these other nuanced perspectives that came out of the interviews with the people, or the storyline went into these other directions that that made you ponder these other kind of concepts and ideas. There was all these unexpected side storylines, and this current event was just sort of either the shell of it, or it was just a small part of it, and it turned out to not really be that after all. Well, technically, you can make an argument that the film production company, the advertising department, and the theater chains and the streaming services and whatnot that put this show, documentary, movie, whatever it is, out there, used you. They used your emotions. They used the fact that you cared very deeply about this thing that's happening right now, about this thing that's in the zeitgeist. They used the fact that you might have very strong opinions and strong feelings against this thing, or for this thing, or whatever. They got you excited, and whether that's a good way or a bad way, they convinced you out of anger or enthusiasm, go out and pay money to watch this thing. And that's where using people is actually more morally neutral than you might think. Because if you think about it, they used you to spend money on it. They used you to go there to see it. They used you to download the streaming service, whatever. So, they got your money. But, in turn, you got a new perspective. You got a really good, hopefully really good movie or documentary to watch. You got something else to think about and ponder. And in turn, you spending money on that film or that documentary ultimately makes it so that more movies, media that are like that aren't, the mainstream, can then be made, which therefore in turn gives you more interesting new things to watch. So I think that same mindset can be brought into your everyday interactions with people, and it's not always a bad thing. It can actually work for a lot of good. So I'm going to move to a different location. Seat's a little bit uncomfortable here, and I'm going to continue this thought. So here's just a few examples of this playing out in the real world with the people that you might interact with. And these examples are very over-exaggerated, and that's deliberate. I think in all actuality, it takes a lot more work. It takes a lot more different things involved to necessarily pull these things off. It's not quite as clean-cut and easy as it is in the examples I'm giving, but I'm just giving these overly obvious examples as a way to drive home the point. So, point number one is, let's just say you've met a lady. You like her quite a lot. And, there's an argument to be made that 100% just complete honesty 100% is noble, and I'm not going to argue against that. But you just have to ask yourself, what's your intention? Do you have decent intentions? Say it's two examples is, say she really, really likes this kind of household aesthetic, this kind of music, this kind of art, whatever it may be. And but you really like this woman, you want to actually be in a relationship with her. You actually respect her as a human being. So you decide, I've heard or I've observed that she really likes this kind of thing, and also I maybe have heard from some other people that she's very easily seduced by that kind of thing. So, I've got her to come over to my place, or we're going out this night. So I'm gonna decorate. I'm gonna get some of this art, or I'm gonna just get some of this aesthetic type thing, and I'm gonna decorate my house that way. I'm gonna dress that way. I'm gonna play it up a little bit. I'm gonna act as if like I don't know she's into that kind of thing, and I'm totally into it too. And say it works. Now, that's manipulation at its finest, 100%. There's no denying that or getting around it. But the moral side of it is where it's nuanced, because what's your intention? Are you just intending on, sleeping with this woman and then forgetting all about her after that? Pump and dump kind of thing? Are you just taking advantage of the fact that there's this aspect of her that's very easily seduced by something, and you don't really care about her and you just want to get laid tonight and then carry on? Or do you actually really like this woman and you actually want to be in a relationship with her? You actually want her to be your girlfriend, and you want to actually collaborate with her in her life to lift her up and lift yourself up at the same time, right? If your intention is, just take advantage of her, well then maybe that's bad manipulation. That's kind of a gross way to think, right? It's not a gross way to think if that's where the honesty comes in. If you're just very honest and transparent about that as your intention with everybody around you, and in that proposition is accepted, then then that's totally fine. But if you're hiding that intention and putting drapery around it as if it's not that, just to take advantage of somebody, then that's kind of gross, right? But if you actually do truly care about this person and want to be with them and whatnot, and you've just learned that little hack that might get the ball rolling a little quicker, then there's nothing inherently wrong with that. You are using manipulation, but you're using it positively, right? So another example could be, say there's just a friend, just somebody around town that you know, and rumor has it that they're very gullible. You can easily sort of trick them into conducting themselves in a certain way. You can very easily convince them to do something, help you with something, or invest in something, whatever. And they've been taken advantage of a lot in the past. Now, and say you take advantage of that and you trick them into whatever, something. Again, what's your intention? Is your intention you actually really like this person, you want to see them succeed, and you really like their personality, you want to be closer friends with them, you enjoy their company, you enjoy their sense of humor, you enjoy different things about them, and you actually want to, again, lift them up, you want to collaborate with them on their affairs, you want to be a part of their life, you want to help them out as well, just generally you enjoy them as a human being and you want to be around them, so you use their gullibility to sort of, again, just get the ball rolling a little bit, then there's nothing inherently wrong with that either. It's just a small hack to help get the ball rolling. But are you some sort of shark that just, wants some quick cash out of the person? You want an easier convenience for yourself, so then you can just take advantage of that and then take off and forget about them. Do you mean them harm in some sort of way? Then that's a gross way to be. That's bad. That's dark manipulation, right? Like, you're being a scoundrel, you're being a shark, you're being an asshole, whatever you want to call it, right? But if it's not that, and you do truly want to lift this person up, be a part of their life, and you enjoy spending time with them, and that's just a way to get things going easier, then again, it's a pretty morally sound way to manipulate somebody. So yeah, it's just it all depends on your intention, and there's definitely truth about telling the truth 100% and just like being completely like not a single, like there are people that practice just not saying a single, even just a small fib, like it's just 100% the truth all the time, and they feel spiritually sound. It's almost like a spiritual practice because they know that they're just there's no manipulation, there's nothing, they're just 100% as they are. And there's definitely, I'm not going to argue against that. That's a choice that some people make, and I'm not going to argue against that at all. But I think that the whole idea of manipulation, psychological manipulation, using people, and that has a slightly worse PR department than is justified, because I think, as I said, it all goes back to the intention, and doing this is actually a lot more morally neutral than you might imagine just from the statement of go out and use people. It sounds really bad, but it's maybe not as bad as it might seem if it's conducted properly. And yeah, what else? I don't want to take this too long, but there was something else on my mind too. I'm kind of forgetting what it is. Perhaps it'll just roll into another video sometime. But anyway, what are your thoughts on that? I hope you enjoyed this video. Ponder it a little while. Think about it. I think this is an evergreen message. I don't think it's is one of those ones where I wondered if it's the right message to put out there or not. But I think ultimately being aware of those things, and that will do more good than bad, depending on your intention anyway. Oh, another thing I was gonna say is there's extremes. There's extremes. So there's like the shark, the cold manipulator kind of person that's just out for their own gain. And then there's like the saintly, spiritual kind of person on the other side of the spectrum that's like always noble, always the truth all the time, right? But those are the two extremes. I think most people live somewhere in the middle. And I think we definitely are more honest some days than others. We're a bit more manipulative some days than others, and I don't think that our emotions around it are neutral. Our emotions are sort of like an ocean inside there. Like, oh, I told myself it was a white lie at the time, but because this situation was happening, but now that it's kind of all said and done and it's over, I sort of feel bad. Or, you know, I told the truth and I was honest, and the people made me feel really shitty and got rejected in a really bad way. So, you know, like, fuck it, maybe I should have lied, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I think most people sort of live in between those two extremes, and their emotions are sort of like an ocean inside that's calm sometimes and rough other times, and medium other times as well. So the intention of this video is just to help you sort of level that out a little bit and be like, you know, this manipulation can be used for good or for bad, and depending on what kind of person you are and the reasons that you're doing it, pretty much is the moral compass that you need to be focusing on more so than the action itself. And yeah, so hopefully most of the people that seems like my audience is a pretty cool, chill, nice audience. So hopefully most of you use this for good and use this new perspective to do good things. But who knows, some of you might not, but that's up to you. I'm just the messenger here. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you have a great day. Please come back for more. See you all next time.